the David evidence is unbeatable. For any of those who aren't online and don't know about the David case, David was a Fortnite player. I don't know if he went pro, turned musician because he was getting copyright strikes for his Fortnite montages, so he just wanted to make his own music. And then I think he met the victim of this case when she was like 10 or 11 over Fortnite. Then he convinced her to get Discord, and then they were talking, and then um yeah, and then I think he offed her when she was 13 about to be 14, or 14 about to be 15, but yeah, that is like the very surface level gist of it.
David is sat in the jail waiting for his next day in court. I'm waiting for his next day in court. Probably going to pull up to him on the next day in court and make sure that I see this thing through in person. But in this video, I'm going to delve into a few posts that I've seen that are basically going over what they believe are some of the evidence that the DA, the district attorney, will be presenting against David. Perhaps maybe some arguments about, you know, what he might be able to say in response, and a few new pieces of evidence that have been floating around, which I don't know if they're going to use them against David, but if they did, it's not going to be good for him. Okay, so let's start with this post here on D4VD. Right, it says, recap the evidence the DA will be presenting against David shortened. Okay, so it says the description of photographs depicting the victim naked, as well as while she was engaged with the defendant in adult activity while she...
How is this case still going on? This dude is so cooked. That in itself is like already...
She was 13, so basically the illegal videos, which is proof of their ongoing adult relationship while she was just 13 and 14 years old. That on its own will bury you under the jail, right? We don't, I mean, obviously, look, in a fair and just society, we need a trial, okay? Innocent till proven guilty, due process, but, bro, if you've got them illegal videos on your phone, like, we could just, you know what I'm saying? We could just end it right here. But anyway, that's going to be a big part of what they're going to use against him, and it's going to be damning. Not only that, there's numerous text messages between the defendant and the victim that evidence their adult relationship, including pregnancy, abortion, and the use of Plan B emergency contraception. Already really, really bad, and we're not even at the murder yet. We've only just proven you're a despicable PDF file, okay, that should never be downloaded ever again. But it gets worse. So it says defendant's cellular activity and communications derived from defendant's iPhone and Tesla, which demonstrate defendant's activities from April 22nd, 2025 to April 24th, 2025, including a trip to Santa Barbara County in the middle of the night after the victim arrived at his Hollywood Hills home. So a lot of people are saying, well, a lot of dumb, idiotic people have been saying, well, they need to prove that he was at the house. I'm talking about J-Omar and a bunch of other idiots. Like, oh, you got to prove that he was at the house. Anything could happen. No, because his phone's going to track him at home, right? He's texting her pretending that she never turned up in his home, right? His iPhone, his Tesla. No, you know you were at home when this happened. You were there. Sorry, David defenders. Sorry, David D riders. Okay. So there also needs the surveillance video of the defendant driving his Tesla on July 29th, 2025 for the last time before parking the vehicle and leaving on tour at the end of July. So, despite what Steve Fisher, the private investigator, said, the cops are going with the narrative that David moved the car last, and that last video of the car being moved is definitely going to be damning. Okay? So this says surveillance DNA evidence developed from bloodstains collected from the defendant's garage, which match the victim's genetic profile.
Isn't that like more than enough? Like, this is just gradually getting more and more worse and concrete.
Very, very bad. The blood in the garage, you're not going to be able to explain that away. Proof of defendant's Amazon purchases and deliveries to his residence, including 2 chainsaws, a body bag, an inflatable pool, heavy-duty laundry bags, and a burn cage after April 24th, 2025. It's so damning. It's just, these are just the main things they're going to use. There's a bunch of stuff they're not even going to need to use. This says proof the defendant's purchase and delivery from Postmates of a shovel from Home Depot to his own home April 24th, 2025. This guy's a moron. Uber records showed the defendant's
From
transaction where he
Postmates?
ordered an Uber to pick up the victim from her Lake Elsinore home and transport her to his residence on the night of April 23rd, 2025. She didn't do that herself. He bought it. He paid for the Uber. It was on his account. Idiot. Proof of the defendant's lucrative career as a singer and songwriter prior to April 23rd, 2025. They might have some financial records. We might find out exactly how much David was making at this point. Defendant had an album release party on the night of April 24th, 2025, before embarking on an international tour in late July 2025. And text message exchanges between defendant and the victim on April 22nd and April 23rd, where the victim threatened to expose defendant and destroy his career. Now, I read you all of that, and I want to ask you, right, my audience, the Trapmore gang, my supporters, I would hope, okay? Do you think there is a chance in hell that he is going to have a good argument for any of that evidence? People are saying, well, he might, it's bullshit, right? In my opinion, Blair Burke's on the case because it's famous clout case. Ain't no way you're going to beat this case. There's no defense. There's no chance. Absolute, I don't want to say the word, but you're a PDF file, proven, stamped, merged on your phone. We got the illegal videos. Right? You Ubered her to your home. She died right after. You were there. We got your cell phone tower pinging at your property. You're a freaking idiot. Do you think there is any way? Do you think there is any argument? No amount of mental gymnastics is going to convince anyone that this guy is anything less than a despicable PDF file who murdered this little girl to protect himself. There's no other explanation. All right? If you think there is, I've got a bridge to sell you. Okay, you might as well let me look after your crypto wallets while you're there if you really think that. But anyway, let's see what other people think. Imagine being a Postmates driver and delivering a singular shovel to a Hollywood...
That's what I'm saying. Like, imagine being the Postmates or like the Amazon delivery driver, like, and you're doing the shovel for Postmates and then the body bag, the chains, like, you're not, like, no signals are going off.
Hillside home. I'd be like, interesting. That's facts. That's facts, man. That on its own. If you were Postmates a shovel, excuse me, and it stinks, you pulling up to the crib to drop it off and it smells bad, that's actually didn't happen. But anyway, people saying bro is so cooked, it's insane. Yep, and the only defense he has is contradicted by the medical examiner. Unless he's going to try and say she just stabbed herself to death, his defense will probably be desperate enough to try that. People saying, I agree. I also felt like he pled not guilty just so he could get himself a plea or a deal so he think he got the better end of the stick. I don't get why he's dragging it out to a trial. More public fame? Gosh, he's so full of himself. Can't even tell the truth to put this little girl to rest in peace. That's the one thing in this case that doesn't make sense. Why not tell the truth? It don't gain him anything other than the power of knowing what he did while all of us are left clueless. I genuinely hope they put him on death row and suicide watch. I need to remember that one. Suicide is a good one. The songs, the live streaming, I just can't. Okay, they ain't mentioned the songs. They ain't mentioned delete everything. They don't. The prosecutors don't need that shit, bro. It's played out.
I'm surprised they didn't mention.
Don't need that to cook this fool. Such a mother effing incredibly stupid loser. Can't wait to watch him suffer by the law. Should you also add police body cam footage and wiretap? This is just a DA brief summary of what they said will be presented. So they don't need they don't need the wiretap. We got wiretap. We recorded all your content. We don't need any of that. We don't need it. You cooked. Okay, you cooked. Got all the ingredients we need on the table. People saying, what about her phone? I'm very curious as to whether her phone was recovered. People saying, I think he ditched it in Santa Barbara, but they gained access to her iCloud. It says, the way this reads, they have evidence of both a pregnancy and an abortion in the past. Otherwise, why else mention it as evidence? It says here, because even if there's no proof of a pregnancy or abortion, discussion of these topics suggests the two were engaged in an adult relationship. People saying it's circumstantial, though, because her body was already decomposed so bad when they found her, they couldn't tell if she'd been pregnant or not. I thought at one point they said no, she never was pregnant, then they came back later and said on the death certificate it was listed as unknown. At this point, I think they have plenty of other evidence to convict David. They don't need to prove if she was actually pregnant or not. I think them mentioning it in the brief was to show proof they were having sexual relations. Okay, so it says, great summary. I'm wondering if they've done a voice analysis for conversations, comparing them to her voice and songs, as well as voicemails in his phone, iCloud account, as well as cell phone pings. I doubt it, because I don't think they need it. I don't think it matters, all right? I don't think it matters. Doesn't matter. Don't need to do no voice analysis. Oh, is it her on the song? Don't need to, bro. It sounds like her. Doesn't even matter. This guy's a PDF, all right? This guy's a PDF. He's cooked. He's a murderer, allegedly, right? We don't need any of that junk. We don't need it. It's junk. It's garbage. Don't need it. Not needed, okay? says, why do they need to show her unclothed? Do they mean explicit pictures? She sent him all the autopsy pictures of her unclothed. This is so disturbing. They aren't showing her unclothed. They're describing the photos and videos of her. From what I understand, I don't know if I'm right about this, but I've heard people saying that what they're going to do in cases like this is they're not going to show the illegal videos to the courtroom. Thank God. But what they're going to do is probably have some kind of like forensic expert that's reviewed these images to come to court and describe them. And it'll be someone credible, probably someone from the police who deals with this sort of thing on a regular basis. Awful job. But they'll probably have somebody come there and basically just describe in great detail what the videos contained. We don't need to see the naked picture for somebody to get on the stand and say, look, this is confirmed. I'm a forensic analyst. It's a naked picture of the victim on the phone, confirmed. Right? Don't need to see it. Don't actually need to see it. Okay? They will not show it. They will describe it. Okay? So they're not going to show it, they're going to describe it, and it's going to be some horrible stuff. Okay, so now there's been some speculation on what theories might actually be used in court, especially when it comes to the defense. It says, what are some theories you think will take place in court? Anything you guys think was found in evidence or something really hard to pinpoint? So someone's saying, just my thought, I do think he's told Neo on text or call, and that's why Neo was saying he's in the clear legally and has the receipts. Neo may have been given a deal where no charges are given to him because he's helping the prosecution by providing the evidence, hence the prosecution saying you watched her bleed out. People saying, I also believe this. I obviously don't know to what extent Neo's involvement is, but I do think that he knew about it, and I think he's caught.
Now this is going to bother. I need to check on that. So that is... Oh, that... Okay. That is his former friend. Okay.
Cooperating with law enforcement. So basically, if Neo is snitching on David, he's already cooked anyway. He's already cooked. But if Neo is snitching on David, that's gonna be delightful. It says David doesn't seem like the type of person who would be able to keep his mouth shut and not tell someone about it. Not to mention all his cryptic messages in Discord and such after the murder. He's very much an attention seeker. People saying he didn't right away though. He failed to show up in court, and they had to put out an arrest warrant for him before he was detained in Montana. To me, that's a pretty big red flag. If you're not involved at all, why would you be scared to go to court if you're subpoenaed? Said they might not give one. Their only job is to show that there might be even a sliver of a chance he didn't do it, so they'll probably just attack the forensic evidence. If this case, actual direct evidence like a camera recording him committing the murder or a witness that was there to see it, then that's a wrap. It will be interesting to see what route they go. I won't read that just in case I get in trouble. OJ failed the lie detector test, and he says only because he had fantasies about killing Nicole Simpson. I expect the same, like his songs were only his fantasies. People saying, I don't even have any, I just can't imagine.
They could pull that card, but I don't know if...
Imagine how the defense...
There's just a mountain of evidence. I don't know, that is a good point.
This is going to spin this. His lawyers stand by the fact that he didn't kill her. Why would anyone else want her dead? 14-year-olds don't have murderous enemies. They don't have to propose alternative theories. They only need to create reasonable doubt in the prosecution's theory. Accidental overdose, duh, how else? Come on. Right? I agree, but also think of how many people were dependent on David now or then. They're going to provide an alternate suspect named Neo or Rob. It said... Oh, this was crazy. Yeah, I remember this. There was a case back in the early 2000s when a rich kid was super drunk and ran into a crowd of people. Then he blamed it on an absurd thing called affluenza or something like that, basically saying he was rich and never taught the consequences of his actions, so he didn't understand the severity, which caused public outrage, and he ended up getting a light sentence. This isn't a legal defense, but I can see David's attorney arguing the pandemic and the kids that were raised during it, the brain rot theory of children today being desensitized and numb to violence, but this wouldn't hold up because he went through so many measures to hide her and then hide the crime, but I could see that being the defense. It says there isn't a reason for any theories. There's effing 40 terabytes explaining everything down to the smallest detail. Not quite sure I understand your question, but I think the defense team will attack the accuracy of the medical examination's conclusions and the integrity of the investigation. They're going to say the medical examiner was being pressured to reach a conclusion about the cause of death, that it's impossible to know with any degree of certainty how Celeste died. People say, I don't know why you got downvoted. It's true. We've already heard the police had to arrest him to get the ball rolling because the state wasn't ready. And questioning the medical examiner's handling of the report is something that happens every day in court. It's a normal thing.
Go the mental illness.
There isn't a reason for any theories. There's effing. Okay, so there's a couple bits of new information and tidbits of evidence that are going around that I just thought were interesting, all right? Some people are saying this is suspicious. There's a clip from a year ago where David said 2 girls broke his heart. So one of the people on the Discord call apparently asked David who broke his heart, and he said 2 people back to back. Just thought this was weird. So he doesn't specify if they're girls or not. And some people are wondering if this is him referring to another victim.
You're hard though, homie.
Man, 2 people back to back to back.
That's album credits. Go ahead, my brother.
Is that not Drake?
All right, DDG.
Wait. I didn't know Academics was on stream with David. Wait, what?
I thought the song was very well put together.
Wait, Patrick CC on there. What the? Yo, Patrick, what are you doing on a call with David? What are you doing on a call with this freak?
I listen to songs like this here and there so I can understand the vibe and everything. The concept was great for like a lot.
So that was it. That was it, really.
DD album credits. Go ahead, my brother. Is that not Drake?
Man, two people back to back to back.
That's album credits.
Man, what the hell? I can't believe this. Bro, that blew my mind. I can't believe my boy Pat and Academics are over here fraternizing with David, man. But anyway, when he's talking about two girls breaking his heart, some people are saying it's not weird, but it corroborates evidence of him being jealous, of him having issues with Celeste. I mean, this is apparently where their relationship broke apart and they weren't talking over this period. This was December of 2024. So I think it's very interesting. And then obviously you add that to this point, I think he was seeing two girls at the same time. When Celeste would go home, he got with the other girl. When Celeste ran away, he was with her. David's saying he had two breakups. David said two back to back. I think he's talking about Celeste and the other girl that hasn't come out yet, not Kiera. She was at David's mansion house on... Wait, what? Not... Celeste, the other girl that hasn't come out yet, not Kiera, she was at David's mansion house on February the 14th, 2024. He didn't know that Celeste was going to run away, so he had Celeste in the other house where they did the Twitch stream with Celeste. It says, this is baseless for me to speculate on, but I feel like there's a good chance he just said that to get under Celeste's skin. That's interesting, right? That's very interesting. Poor David gets his heart broken by children who didn't want to get R-worded, right? You can hear the Your Special David clip from that alleged voicemail from Celeste at the end of the song too, right? Saying like most narcissists, David says whatever suits him best, according to what situation he finds himself in with no regard to the truth. He wanted people to think of him as a heartbroken songsmith, and this suited his purpose at the moment. I doubt he's ever even been heartbroken. Now, another thing that I think is interesting, okay?
I forgot where I saw this, but I remember seeing this like separate video kind of breaking down the psyche of David, and I remember there's like they pulled a interview or something I did, and him saying like the songs he writes about heartbreaks and stuff, it's not even from real life, but it's more so him like writing that so he can prepare for stuff that he writes in a song.
Is basically they're saying that this picture outside David's garage, they're saying that that looks like a blood stain. Now, some people are saying that it's not, okay? But there's talk of David's garage being full of DNA and blood. Okay, some people are saying that's leaves, but I think that looks like a blood stain to me. That is right outside the garage where the murder happened, allegedly. Could that have been some blood spilled when he walked the body out in the car, out of the garage to the car? I don't know. Okay, people saying I was looking back at the TMZ photos and I got to the photo of the garage. I noticed something on the curb. If you look closely, it looks like a dark stain that looks like blood. When blood sits on a porous surface like concrete for more than 24 hours, it changes. It loses the bright red look and turns a dark rusty brownish. It dries out and oxidizes. Looking at the texture and color in the shots, it really mimics old blood stains set into the ground. Okay, some people are saying, yes, the police completely missed this obvious clue. Well done, right? Some people are hating, like the police probably took a picture of that, right? People saw a random pool of blood and walked over it for months. See, I feel like it's interesting, right? Everyone's hating on this guy, but it's like, you know, there could be a stain outside your crib and you might not think it's blood. You might think it's just dirt or, you know what I'm saying, some red wine. Someone spilled some red wine in front of the crib. But I think it's interesting, and I feel like this is just going to be more information that basically is just pointing towards these horrible things going on in that garage. Now, people have been pointing this out. Obviously, David was so dumb to order a bunch of, you know, sadistic tools, allegedly, that could have been used to dispose of the body after the murder. Well, this is going around. A lot of people are saying, how could he have been so stupid? Nothing makes sense. People are saying there's nothing special about David. He's just another brainless killer. So this is a CNN article about a 26-year-old who's facing 2 counts of first-degree premeditation.
Not 26, but it's 2 counts of first-degree premeditated with a weapon and deaths. Prosecutors allege asked Chachi a series of questions, including about putting a dumpster. And days before. Dang.
Murder with a weapon in the deaths of 2 University of South Florida students. So prosecutors allege that the killer Abu Gharbia. Prosecutors allege Abu Gharbia asked ChatGPT a series of questions, including about putting a human body in a dumpster in the days before Limon and Bristy vanished. He also ordered duct tape, trash bags, lighter fuel, fire starter, and charcoal from Amazon in the week before the murder, and financial records cite a criminal affidavit showing even a fake beard had been shipped from Amazon on April the 15th. Okay, so this scumbag, all right, he was about just as smart as David. Notice some similarities between David's alleged behavior and the two other killers on the news this week. One similarly ordered the materials on Amazon and food delivery apps. The other essayed a minor and murdered her in early May 2025. Just goes to show these brain-dead sociopaths all think and behave the same. At least these guys didn't blame homeschool as if that has any correlation. Meanwhile, literally every kid from ancient times to the 1800s was homeschooled. One other thing they all likely have in common, kids in ancient times didn't, is extreme pee addiction and high-speed internet. That high-speed internet makes that pee addiction just hit different, right? Allegedly. Make of that what you will, watch what you want. You become the content you consume. Said Amazon be nabbing killers left and right. Geniuses like Koberger ordering his knife and sheath. Right? People saying there were schoolhouses in the 1800s. I'm just glad David wasn't smart enough to end himself and legitimately seemed to think he could get away with it. If he was 6 feet under, his legacy would have survived like MJ's did. Never found guilty. His estate, movie studio.
We can't put David and MJ in the same breath or same sentence. I'm sorry.
Streaming platforms can unapologetically continue to profit from his work, while fans could make up conspiracy theories about how he was some pure innocent angel that was framed by Mossad or whatever. Okay. People saying, what I'm actually seeing in this post is that the places of South Florida and West Virginia both have high levels of poverty, crime, and familial trauma. You can hyperfixate on the homeschooling, which could be a factor, but there's also clearly a through line of religious-based communities homeschooling when they feel public schools are indoctrinating their children against their own religious brainwashing. It says because Amazon doesn't track your orders if you pay with a fake name and prepaid card and deliver to your address. They're so stupid. They think they're smart. So look, I think the evidence against David is overwhelming. I don't think there is a chance in hell that he beats this. I just wonder how long he's going to drag it out for. I mean, really, is he that arrogant that he really thinks he can beat this? Does he actually think that, like, he can take on the DA and beat them with the evidence that's on the table? Is he really just going to take a plea at the last minute and just try and make it into what little W that he can find? I wouldn't be surprised if his legal team leave him soon after seeing all this evidence. I cannot fathom what on earth the defense is going to be. But once that happens, you know I'm going to be in court, and you know I'm going to be letting you guys know as soon as possible, because I can't wait, not in a good way, but I can't wait to see what flimsy defense this guy puts forward and see it crash and burn in court with my own two eyes, okay? I will be there to watch this history and this man's crash out in not 4K, in literally with my eyes, with unlimited K. I'm going to watch David go down, okay? I'm going to see this through. So anyway, I hope you found that breakdown useful.